Hi everyone, Vladimir is here with our multi-platform game development tutorial, part 17. And today we're actually going to address the progression and the data persistence. The player is going to move forward, the difficulty, or rather the lives of the enemy are going to increase as soon as the player finishes more rounds. So without further ado, let me show you my desktop and let's get back to programming. So first things first, how I usually do it, in the simple games I just create a new class which basically consists of lots of static values. It's not the best approach because this is the global variables and I can understand why people don't like it, but I think for the small tasks that we have at hand this will be the best possible approach. So let's create a new class in our logic package. I'm calling it game progress. It will have our static values which we want to keep from level to level. For example, player lives or max player lives, in case we'll want to change them someday. Maybe, why not? Also player damage. If we plan for the enemy health to grow, it is only reasonable if we increase player damage, although we'll tackle it in the next lessons. So, and also the current level. We need to save which level we are on. So this is this simple. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to increase the enemy lives according to our current level. So for that I just make public static integer function get enemy lives, which will return, let's say, 3 plus current level multiplied by 2. So on the first level we will return 3 lives, on level 0 5 lives, on level 1, and so on and so on. This will give a sense of progression, like the enemies are getting tougher, so nothing that fancy. Well, I wouldn't say data persistence at the start of the tutorial if we were not going to save stuff. So we obviously need two functions, public void save, static, make it static. All of the functions are going to be static here, and the load function. I think the load function is going to be a bit easier. The thing is, we are going to use the Libgdx persistence files. They are basic key value storages which are perfect for the small game like ours. If you are going to serious games, you'll need to use the binary files. You can read it up on the internet, and I'll also give the link in my transcription. You can check it below. But first things first, let's define the keys which are going to be looked up in our files. For that, let's create a few constants. First is the progress save name, which we will call the progress. So this is the file name. The GDX will be able to automatically understand where to create the file depending on the platform. For the web it's going to be cookies, I think, or local storage. For the Windows they have the special folder, and the same with Android. So after that, let's just give the names of our keys. We have 4 values that we want to save: the lives, maximum lives, damage, and level. So we want them to save. We want to save them in the file, and let's just give the keys under which we will save them in the file. String save key lives is going to be lives final string. Basically it's the constant naming. Since we're going to use it at least in 2 places, and saving and loading, it's a good idea to move them into a separate constant, just because it will make our program much less error prone. Static final string save key current level and private static final string save key player damage equals to player damage. Whatever, those are the keys. You want to name them how you want to, it's up to you. After that, let's just get to the load function. So it's very easy. We have the preferences file. I think it's which is GDX up get preferences progress save name. We read our file. Make sure to remove the wrong import and import the right one. We need to import combat logic GDX preferences. After that, we have our preference file prepared. All we need to do is to load the keys. Player lives equal to prefs get integer, and we have the save key lives, and after that the second value is the default value. So if for some reason we fail to load the lives of the player, we need to assign some value to it, and this value will be 3. After that, let's do the same. Basically copy and paste the string 4 times, but be careful, and just rename it to the variables you want. First one was the max player lives, which is save key lives max, and the default value is 3. Then there's the current level, which is under the key save key current level, which is 0 by default, and the same thing which we're going to do with the player damage, which is 1 by default, but make sure to write the proper key. The thing is, this is the danger zone. If you copy and paste those things, be very careful, because it's error prone. You forget to change some key, or you forget to write some load or save thing, and well, you get the bugs that will not be so easy to fix. So the same thing, almost the same thing, is going to be in our save file. Preferences prefs GDX app get preferences progress save name, same opening. Then we just we use put integer function. Then we save the key, save key lives, and then we just put the value, which is the player lives, and so on. Do this 4 times for our 4 values. Save key lives max, which is max player lives, put integer, save key current level, which is current level, put integer for our player damage, which is player damage. And now we need to flush it, otherwise the values won't save properly, so we just need to call the prefs flush. Congratulations, you have implemented the save and load functionality into your game. So right now we have the values, we have the saving and loading, which we are not calling anywhere yet, but let's put it to a good use. So first things first, let's remake our enemy class. In our enemy class, you see that we actually have default enemy lives variable. Get rid of it. Now we're going to call game progress get enemy lives function. It will calculate them automatically when the enemy is created. And now let's get to the player lives. Let's get to the player class. Then there's our assignment of the max player lives. You remember it. Change it to game progress. You got it. Max player lives. And after that, move to our game logic class, which also features some variable for the default lives of our player, which is 3. Get rid of it. And then in our game logic, where we create the player, use game progress player lives. It's that simple. After that, let's change the damage that enemy takes. Search for the line enemy take damage. It is located on our assigned player position, which we just replace. You got it. Game progress player damage. After that, we need to increase the level when the player wins, right? So in our After that, in our check, if the enemy lives suddenly became lesser or equal to 0, and we just get our game progress class and we increase the current level by 1. Next we'll make a procedure, but for now don't bother. Where we need to bother though is when the player takes damage, and if the player loses we need to reset the values, right? So one thing that we need to do is to call game progress some kind of a reset function. The game progress class still doesn't have the reset, but we can create it. So it's the void static private public static void reset function that takes no arguments, and where we actually just reset the values to default ones, which are current level 0 and player damage equals 1. So if the player loses, everything starts anew. We will tackle this a bit later, but for now this is the approach that we are going to have. Okay, I think this is all. All we need to do is to actually load and save the game. We're going to do this in our core class, in our dodging hero class. Before we set screen to the game screen, you need to call the game progress load. It's okay, and the first time when we load it, we just put the default values. But after that, as the game closes, before you dispose of the resources, call game progress save. So this should be about it. Let's run the game and see what's happening, what's going on. Do we get a cool stuff? And you see the enemy have the 5 lives. This was actually because I was playing already, so it's loaded the preference files, but whatever. Check it. I will reduce intentionally the lives of the player to 2 and kill the enemy. I've killed an enemy and I have the enemy lives equal to 5. Let me just kill him again to see if everything is okay. Okay, the enemy lives equal to 5 for some reason, which alright, found the error. In our on-effect over, when player takes damage, we need to check if the player's lives have been lesser or equal to 0. Only then we need to reset the progress. So right now, let's check it. Let's see how it goes, and you'll see what's happening. So our enemy, we're currently on the level 1, where our enemy has 5 lives, and let's the enemy damage us. Let's kill the enemy, and you see the enemy has 7 lives now. One thing that I noticed is that our player lives are restored to 3. I know what we should do with this. We need to add when we increase the level after an enemy is defeated, we need to save the lives of the player. It's the player lives equal to player get lives. After that, as you see, you will see that the enemy progress is actually saved right now. So enemy has 9 lives, that means we're on level 3 already. Tough. We're very tough. And after that, as you can see, if the enemy damages us, and we progress to the next level. No, I actually defeated, but that's a good idea because this will reset the progress. So if you see it right now, we still start anew. So, right, let the enemy hit me. And after we kill the enemy, you see we have 2 lives and the enemy has 5. We close the game. We start again. And we have 2 lives and the enemy has 5. Pretty cool, huh? So well, this concludes our 17th lesson on the game progress. I will make sure to commit changes where you will be able to fetch them and study them in case you want to. If you have any questions, you can always ask me on the contact email or on our subreddit. And we thank you very much for watching. Cheers! Vladimir is out.